Hi, and welcome to another episode of Conversation with a Chef. I'm Jo Ritty, and I love sharing with you the conversations I get to have with talented and passionate chefs. It's the backstory, if you will, to the food they're putting up. I begin today by acknowledging the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, traditional custodians of the unceded land where this conversation takes place, and I pay my respects to their elders past, present, and emerging. Collingwood has no shortage of bars, but Babines stands out, thanks to the two Juliens behind it, Julien Pascal and Julien Wurtlin. When I first went in, not long after they opened a year and a half ago, on the recommendation of a French friend, naturally, I was hooked. The cocktails, the tapenade soldiers, the way the place already felt like it belonged. Since then, the pair have kept shaping and reshaping the space themselves into something great. Renovations, late nights, a little trial and error. What started as a cocktail bar has grown into a neighbourhood dining room where you can order salt-cod fritters with that sharp little Caribbean sauce or a Victorian hanger steak that rivals anything in France. The drinks list shifts with the seasons, equal parts French roots and Melbourne edge, and the late-night kitchen has made Babines a magnet for the industry crowd. I sat down with both Juliens to hear how they pulled it off, the DIY headaches, the Collingwood quirks, and why taking their time was the best decision they made.
Okay, it's really lovely to be here finally with the two Juliens at Babines. Thank you for being ready to speak to me now.
Oh, thank you very much. Thanks for coming back to see us. And obviously, we're not open just yet, so it's a bit different vibes. But we're very happy to see you.
I had a little walk down to the back room just before, and that's all new since I was here. You've done such a great job. It looks really good. With that soundproofing, that beautiful brick. I really love the lights as well, little constellations of...
Yeah, it's cool, a bit of clusters as well, spread around, for sure. It definitely changed the vibes and makes it a little bit more cozy with the soundproofing as well, so yeah.
And I guess you're starting to make quite a name for yourself, so you need that extra room, but it would be a great room for people to book out as well. Yeah,
in fact, so in the first place right now, for us, it's very much like a space designated for function booking at the moment. We actually have a fair bit of demand at the moment, so it's coming out a lot, especially for like October, November, December, all the Christmas season. But ultimately, we would love this space to just be an extension of what we're doing on a daily basis here at Babines, because obviously, like when you book for functions, it's a little bit specific. People come with requirements. They come with like a specific events they want to celebrate. They want certain things which is like tailored for them. What we'd love to in the future is this space is just an extension of Babines, and it's a little bit more on par with what we like the general offering to be, food, cocktails, music, vibes, style of service. So that's very much like what we're aiming for, but more kind of like a long-term thing.
And when did you first open?
The 14th of June.
14th of June, 24. Just a little over a year now. A year, 3 months.
And I really appreciate the way that you've taken your time, I guess, to feel the area, to feel what the people want, to feel out the space and so on as well. And it feels like you're in a really great place now with all of that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think there was a lot of work to be done on the fit out as well. First and foremost, but also a lot of equipment we couldn't afford from the get-go. So obviously going organic was the better option for us. I don't think we could have necessarily staffed the entire venue from the start and like have the offering that we now have if we had been going hard straight away from the get-go. So definitely organic, slower growth, but a bit more sustained. I think it's actually a big plus for us because it shaped the offering a bit differently from what we had in mind in the beginning.
Yeah. Okay.
You usually come with ideas, of what you want to do and what you like to cook or make as drinks. Ultimately you cook and make drinks for the people and the patient that comes in your venue every day. So there has to be a fine balance. I think that's something Jules was very much across because he used to run a bar just across the corner, so very similar market. Obviously from my background it was very different. I never worked in Collingwood, and for that matter in Melbourne I've always worked in more like fine dining and more upscale restaurant and bars, so I think it was good to take our time, take the temperature of the water, and just adjust based on that. It's also our first business, so it's not like we've got a lot of experience and see exactly what works and what doesn't, you know. So yeah,
a lot of mistakes on the way. A lot of delay on opening as well, and ultimately, I think we ended up in a situation when we opened door where we were like, cool. Our main background is cocktails, and so doing beverage is what we've been doing the past 10, 12 years, and so naturally that's what the focus would be, but we actually didn't even kind of thought through too much ahead of let's open the doors about what we were going to do. So all of that had to be a little bit more clear in our mind as well.
What were some of the challenges?
Some of the challenges, I think, mostly has been renovation in the first place. I think this has been harder. It's not necessarily...
Always take longer than expected.
Yeah.
We also did most of the thing ourselves. So the wife of Jules is an architect, so we are really lucky to have really good plan and design mapped out for us. But it's always fun to learn how to plaster a wall and to waterproof a bar at 4 p.m. at 4 a.m. on YouTube.
Doing the flooring, that was definitely a big difficulties. I think the element of like permits and requirements as well are quite tight as well. It's definitely something that we've navigated for the first time. But food license, liquor license, food pathway for trading outside, all of that has been quite heavy as well. You know, hygiene certified for food. There's a lot of elements to consider.
And any setback on licensing just means you won't gonna happen. So it's like any learning you make through the process that sets you back 2 weeks, it's basically 2 weeks where you're paying rent and you just can't operate. So it's, you know, the big setbacks when you have never done this before. I think renovation and licensing were the biggest one.
Biggest challenge for sure.
I think we also have a big venue, a big space. So if there's an amount of stuff that can go wrong per meter square, we've got a fair meter square footage.
It's a good way. That's actually I agree with Jules on that. You know, there's definitely I mean it grows parallel. You know, it's proportional. Bigger is your space, more chance you can have issues of like plumbing and all different sort of issues. You know. More your space is big, more you got.
Well, and they're old buildings down here on Smith Street as well, aren't they?
Of course. As well.
Yeah. I spoke to the couple who opened Pendant, and I would be Brunswick Street, but it's in this area, and just the amount of once they started renovating, the things they came across because it is an old building. I think there's hidden delights.
Absolutely, yeah. And you don't know what you're getting. You know, I feel like we've been quite unlucky in some way. And I mean, ultimately, when you're having a brick and mortar business, you attach to the physicality of the shop, and you very often, just taking back this building, and you don't really know how it's been treated before. You know, like things needs to be maintained, things needs to be like treated with love. You know, and if people not necessarily have even put a lot of love in the previous years, you know, well, you're going to inherit from all of that, and you're going to have to deal with that. So
ultimately, you, as a tenant, you've got a lot of responsibilities on your plate as well, you know. So there's so many things that you might not be aware, unless you have a broker and like you go through the whole process, which is probably the thing you should be doing, guarded that you've got the money and time to do it. It's hard to know everything, you know.
I mean, obviously you haven't opened a business in France, but how do you think it compares? Is it would it be? I
think it's on par. I think it's quite similar. I feel like there's certain things who are probably a little bit more precise here and a little bit more specific. But I feel like in France we've got a lot of permits, application, and like criteria that you need to tick.
Yeah, I think in France it would be easier. In my mind anyway, because it's obviously our first language.
That's right.
And we also have a network and families to rely on, you know. Yeah. People that probably went through the same, licensing or setting up their business, you know.
Yeah.
So you benefit from their experience, which here for us it was very much just the first, you know. But, you know.
Well, it makes it even more impressive what you've achieved, so well done.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Look, it's all good learning at the end, you know?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Nothing to throw out the window, so...
That's right. Yeah. When I first came in, and then I just told everyone about how much I loved it here. I really loved the food was so excellent, and we had a few different snacks, and the one that really stands out in my mind I think is the anchovy toast soldiers maybe.
We had that, absolutely.
Which was delicious, and
Yeah.
there were some other things as well, and just the cocktails were so beautiful and delicious. And you were saying that you've changed the offer a bit. Can you talk me through what your style is now?
Like in the very first place when we started, we built up a strategy where we were actually doing some prep food for local cafes, actually. So we were actually using this massive kitchen that you've seen to actually prepare a bit of food that we were selling as a wholesale price for local cafes. And this was guaranteeing us like a fair bit of revenue, was giving us a security. Because obviously for us it was like, cool, let's open the doors and let's see what happened. But we were like very unsure about what revenue we were going to tap in straight at the beginning. So
and we didn't have a liquor license to start off. So
as well.
At the beginning when our rent started to kick in, that was one of the way we could get some revenue. But also a way to take off pressure from the service, because obviously we just the two of us between floor, bar and kitchen for the first couple of months. We can actually generate revenue during time when we're closed. So it was just a good balance, yeah.
Absolutely. But so ultimately that's something we're not doing now for about 6 months. And so it's always been in our mind to actually fully use this kitchen for the offering and the experience here at Babines. So yeah, it was kind of like natural to develop the food menu over time, and just doing something still very bar orientated, but something where you can as well project yourself having a full dinner here as well. That was the aim. So naturally the food menu has grown up. Is offering a little bit more option, more choices now. You've got this really cool prefix menu as well. There's a little selection of one starter, one main, one dessert. It's a 3-course, super good value, very simple to understand as well. It stays very much like a super approachable, easy to pick food menu, where the idea is like you're basically building around different items, you're sharing a little bit of everything, and you make a little selection of like 3, 4, 5 dishes, a la carte, and you're sharing that with whoever's around the table, So good drinks and good company.
So the salt cod fritter, is that like a brandade de morue kind of style? Like
absolutely, that's exactly what it is. Salted cod fish fillet, so coming preserved, salted. So you have to go through a process of soaking them, desalting it. So you have to change the water over a course of like 4 or 6 hours, and once it's done, you're just cooking your fish, fleshing it out, and you prepare basically a batter out of that. So flour, eggs, a bit of yeast as well, who's gonna give this really nice texture, sort of cushioned, soft. Very puffy kind of character, and all of that flavored with onion, spring onion, garlic, salted fish, of course, and served with like a Creole style sauce, what we call a sauce chien. So literally translating by dog sauce, but no link at all with dog. It's actually the name of a knife in French Caribbean island, actually.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, just because the sauce is involving a lot of chopping, so it was naturally, it's actually the knife that they used, who gave the name to the sauce.
So interesting.
Rather than pounding in pestle and mortar kind of thing. And it was marketed in the 60s as, the knife you always have with you, like your dog kind of thing. So it took the name of the knife,
Yeah.
That's great.
And so the sauce is kind of like tart, spicy, very fresh, all these herbs, and chilies, and so you want to really load that on your top of your fritters, which is obviously like fried, so it's rich. You've got a little bit of this residual saltiness as well from the cod. Really cool balance of acid, saltiness, spicy. It's really cool.
Yeah. And the Mount Martha blue mussels, is that Mount Martha on the peninsula?
Absolutely, yeah.
Really? I didn't even know they had blue mussels.
Yeah, look, I mean, it's quite a lot of productions of mussels on the peninsula, indeed, And as far as Babines is a strong influence and inspiration on French dishes and drinking culture as well. Like for us, working with local produce, seasonal produce is super important, and so it's something you will see across both food but cocktail menu as well. And even the wine is very if we've got the choice between like let's say a French wine, for equivalent quality to a Victorian one, chances are that we will go for the local. For us, it's very important to work with what's around us, and it's even more important here in Australia, especially this corner of Australia, which is like literally the furthest away from the rest of the world, pretty much.
That's right.
Yeah.
But that's really respecting that idea of terroir, isn't it? And I think that perhaps people could have an idea that French people might want to celebrate their own produce, but it's really a mindset where you're recognising where you are and using your techniques and the inspiration for the dishes, but using the local produce. I think that's really great.
Yeah, I think it's even more true on the food and the cocktail aspect. I think you might have, as you said, celebrating your own product when you have appellation and when you have, like a champagne that's specific to an area, or like wine that's very specific to a part of France and you can't replicate it here. More often than not, when that happens nowadays, it costs it's a hefty price that you're paying for those appellations. You can look at Jura or Bourgogne or Bordeaux. It's not entry level price by all means. So on many aspects, every region in France has their own culture of food, and very often it doesn't even cross the border of the region. I eat very differently from someone from Burgundy, which is just the next region over. I'm from Alsace, so it's a very different culture, and I think it's very in our culture to stick to what you have on hand when they are in season. So
it's as well like, I mean, obviously we don't see it now because now like the economies are all like linked to each other's and goods are crossing the world, but like food cultures is mostly based on what you had around you. It's what it was, like, I mean, people in southern part of France or southern Europe were cooking with olive oil because it's what was available, and naturally in further northern part of Europe, butter was more the way to go. So I mean, it's at the end of the day, you cook and you eat what the area, what the terroir gives you. Absolutely.
Yeah.
The main change on the food menu, I think, is now you can really have a proper dinner, a proper meal, and we start seeing more people coming in for just to have food rather than drinks even. So when you were there, you had more like bar snacks and like wine bar sort of little plates.
That's right.
If I remember well. Now it's very much an offer that's stand on by itself with much more hot food, bigger plates as well. So that's something we definitely pushing and growing at the moment.
Yeah, it sounds really good. Delicious, in fact. I always like a tartare, so
Yeah. Now some great and some to go back to the local produce, some amazing like produce as well. Like I'm thinking about the hanger steak that we have, which is like pâture fed here from Victoria, so it's like
the beef is insane here. The quality of the
meat is amazing quality, and it's just in your backyard really. So it's quite amazing. In some way it's even great because we can come with like an inspiration which is French, like hanger steak. It's what we call an anglais in French. It's like actually a part of the beef which is like very valued in France, a little bit more than here actually in Australia. But it's quite incredible to discover produce which is right from around the corner, and it's actually amazing quality, and you can subliminate this great produce. So better than in France really.
Yeah, and that inform the dishes we will pick and try and put on the menu for sure.
Yeah, and in terms of the cocktails, have you changed those along the way?
Well, there's a fair new amount of new additions. There's a couple of good favorite that come back from a year to another, but it just depends of the structure of the menu. There's sometimes like I'm thinking the Marquisette. That's probably something you've seen. That was on the first opening menu. It just takes the role of a spirit, which complement the rest, but overall 80% of it would have been renewed since the last 2 seasons or so. So the format is always kind of the same at the moment. We might change that at some point, but the idea is you've got a section that's very much based and informed by French bistro drink or French bistro culture. Product are obviously as much as we can Australian. And then you've got a section with our classics. So very often we won't do most classics, just because, for example, could make a lot of margarita at the moment, but lime and not really at their peak. So we have to come around with a solution all the people that want to have a margarita, and we've got something that's relying on different
Yeah.
produce at the moment. So you always have a section that's a bit more on the exploration, let's say, and a bit more on the concept. That's probably where we have the most fun putting together. And a section that's a bit more speaking in terms of structure to people that just walk through the door and just want something a bit more classic and know what to expect. I think the balance of that is interesting because you obviously keep that sense of experience for someone that works in OSPO or for someone that's a bit more of an insider in the industry. And you also keep that sense of experience and that ease of service for someone that don't necessarily have all the keys and all the clues that you could have, you know?
Yeah.
And two people with various degree of understanding of what we do will have a very good time and enjoy and have the feeling that, you know, something is readable for them in the sense that they can taste, I don't know, the smoked capsicum in the margarita as an example, you know, and you actually like keep everyone, you know, with you rather than making them feel like they're drinking something that they have no clue about, you know.
Where are you getting ideas, for example, for the finalou, where you've got Australian brandy, caramelised Jerusalem artichoke, dashi, honey vinegar, salted coconut, toasted peanut? That's a list of ingredients I wouldn't have imagined together. How are you getting the idea for that?
So finalou is based on a cognac soda. So fin being the short term for fine spirit, which usually are brandy in France. So cognac and soda is like a very classic, cognac and water rather, because we didn't always have sparkling water. It's a very classic way of consuming cognac back in the days. A drink that Jules and I love is a scotch and soda. We actually met in a Japanese restaurant back in the UK. That's where we first worked together. We had one of the biggest Japanese whiskey selection outside of Japan for many years there, and that was very much the an official drink, a staff drink was a whiskey and soda. So it was when we tried to put this drink together, you know, there was like obviously a lot of like Japanizing ingredients and like influence in the drink, and dashi, that's one of them, you know. Salted coconut gives you a bit more texture because typically you would have it with flat water in France, which has a bit more texture, than less refreshing but more round on the palate than like sparkling water would be. And at the moment of putting this drink together, the Jerusalem artichoke were just in season, so that just bring like a really lovely, almost like salted caramel character, earthy background to the spirit. So there was just a kind of a merge between habits of drinking cognac in France and habits of us enjoying a brown spirit with a soda, you know. Yeah.
These elements as well, you know, like this scotch and coconut water. It's been a bit of a classic as well. So the inspiration it's various, you know. There's definitely this idea of like, brandy water, which is a classic from France, but obviously like there's a lot of influence and experience, you know, things that you're always like mixing different elements together, you know.
I think the thing that shows you, like when we say it's a French concept, you know, it's like the root of the idea might come from a French place, you know, or like from something we grew up seeing in France, but it's like it's not limiting in any way, you know. At the end of the day, it's looking at what we've got on hand within the state or within Australia at the moment and what tastes good and just making it fun for everyone, really. So
make it modern as well. You know? Like it's a big part of what we're doing here at Babines, the modern element, you know. So it needs to be something that people are going to understand, they're going to like. It's up to the palette of people nowadays, and also a little bit the trend as well. What people like, you know. Like it's different inspiration level. Different layers. Yeah.
And so, are you getting people from the industry coming in?
Quite a lot, yeah. We actually have I'm always really positively impressed on how much support we get, you know. And we always like have so many OSPO bartenders, chefs coming in through the door.
That's great.
The fact we're opening the kitchen until 1 a.m. as well. Very often you see them after their shift, wanting a hot meal. You know, but no, it's for the small market that we've touched so far, because we never open big and went big with all the bells and whistles, you know. Yeah. There's definitely a big amount of people that works in the industry, you know, and a lot of them are actually a returning customer as well. So it's great.
Yeah, this is a lot.
Amazing support from the cocktail, especially like the cocktail world, the cocktail industry of Melbourne. I feel like very well received by so many different people who came to experience, and really been like super extremely supportive of us. So it's really good. A lot of people a lot of people
to
from the
make good
industry.
friends,
Yeah.
for sure.
Great.
Yeah.
And so you met in the UK, but where did it all start for you both in hospitality? Have you both always been in hospitality?
So not at all for me actually. I studied business management, and I did a gap year. I went to the UK just to learn English and just to perfect that before going back onto finishing my master degree. And I basically found a job in hospitality. I was working in in an hotel in London. So I was working at the bar at night there, and I just really loved it. So I never actually went back. I kept pushing it back for the first couple of years, and eventually I was like, well, why would I go back to study if actually I've got a job that I'm very happy with? And then I decided to move into a more proper cocktail bar, focus on this. So I moved to a place called Roca, at a subterranean bar called Social Lounge, which was quite famous back in the days because it was opened by a guy called Tony Conigliaro, which had many bars in London. He had a lot of like different bartenders that went through there as a training ground essentially, and that's where I met Jules. So Jules actually used to be my head bartender there. So then we worked together for a couple of years. Eventually Jules moved to Paris, kind of took over his role, and then I left. My girlfriend being English and Australian, we moved to Melbourne, just for a bit of change of air. And then I moved to work at Villemont pretty much straight away after I arrived here. I was there for 4 years, and then I did a little stint at Birdie for about a year and a half before opening here. So definitely not OSPO background. Got probably a shorter experience than Jules has in hospitality as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, more focus on London and Melbourne in my case. But yeah, for Jules it's quite different.
Yeah, for me it's more started like OSPO, especially interestingly, my first love of the industry was really about the kitchen. I felt like it was always vibrant. There's always something happening in a professional kitchen. I'm not too sure where it all started. I know that the love of food in general is something that I got from my grandmother. My grandma was like older generation. She's the woman of the family. She's cooking, and it's really something that I didn't find with my mum when I was younger. So it's always been a bit of a joke that my mum was cooking pretty bad, and when I was going to my grandparents, it was always very exciting to hang in the kitchen, and I really liked it. And there was a little bit more like crafting, handmade stuff with my grandma. So the love for kitchen always been there, but I pleased my parents, and I've stayed on a quite general path in France. So I had like economic and social science background, but quite quickly turned towards hospitality qualification back there. So I've been to a quite good hospitality school called the Lycée Hôtelier d'Occitanie, which is in Toulouse, southwest of France. And just done like few years of qualification there, with experience in various different areas. Strong focus in a kitchen and bar, but I've done as well like a bit of a hotel management as well, and everything which is like floor as well. And I've been always attracted by going overseas. I'm coming from a family where we've been super fortunate to travel a lot when I was younger, so always been super interested about just go overseas, discover things. And Australia always been a bit on the path. So I traveled here. The first time was 2012, just after the end of my qualification, and found my first job here, barely speaking in English. It was fun. It was a great first year and a half here in Australia. I've done a little bit of travel around as well, which was really cool. And eventually decided to move back in Europe, in London, just because for visa purpose it was just easier, and was adapted back then. And since then, done a few trips back and forwards here in Australia for different job experience around like the Lucas Group, but worked as well with the guys at Dr. Morse, Baudrigui as well for a bit. Eventually spent a fair bit of time as well at Roca, where I met Jules, as I previously mentioned. Had some great time there. Amazing produce, quite interesting to work there. You know, a lot of learning over there. Eventually moved back in Paris in 2019 for a short period of time, but things happen, and I ended up back here in Melbourne visiting for a wedding, and doing a little course with some friends specialized in coffee, and this was just before COVID, and it turns out that COVID just made me stick here actually. So yeah. And I'm now married. You've got Buddy next to you as well, and the Babines project is on the way as well. So there's no project at all to move back anytime soon. Now Melbourne is home.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And how did you first start having discussions about doing something together?
I think it first started back in London actually.
A while ago, actually a while ago.
Yeah, I think we always floated the idea. I think so. Roca is a big machine. It's a well-oiled up machine, but it's also a very high pressure environment, and it's a very high volume place. I remember having some chat after service with Jules on how we could make our life easier. To the point where we were up to the extent to say that it's maybe just not manageable in the extent of the things we want to do, and like give the sort of service and the attention to detail we want to do. It was just too big, too high volume to be that make an experience that was more personable for a customer. And I remember, floating the idea jokingly after a service around a beer, being like, maybe we should just open our own stuff, you know?
Do something, yeah.
And I think that's, as far as I can remember, that's when he first started, or the first mention of it. And we've always been really good friends ever since. Jules ended up in Melbourne just by very randomly, as you said, you know, got stuck here with COVID without any big intention of staying further, and actually you did until you met Von. There was no really good reason for you to stay long term here, and
absolutely,
it just kind of clicked. You know, we're like, well, maybe we take it back from where we left it. And Jules and Von used to live just upstairs, so they actually knew the space quite well. So the landlord was someone we know fairly well. And we knew that the space had a great potential. It's obviously really well located. Jules was working just around the corner at Plug Nickel, so he obviously has a very good understanding of the local markets, and heaps of regulars already. Yeah, it just seems fitting.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And compared to, like, Melbourne public compared to London, compared to France, are there differences in the way that people approach hospitality as customers?
I think so. Yeah. It would be interesting for me to go back to London and Paris now that I've got the experience of looking at it from a business owner's perspective. Yeah. But I think London and Paris, you definitely have a much bigger market. It's much more concentrated as well. So any more specific concept has much more chance to work, because the market you rely on is much bigger within your area. You've got tourism as well that is much more prominent. I think overall people are used to spending more money compared to the amount of money they actually earn, and they're more experience forward. I feel like for good or for bad in Australia, I know we've got really high wages, and for some reason the bulk of the market like to comparatively, I'm talking about, maybe seek more price before quality or experience. And in Australia, people are very often more happy with classic dishes and know what to expect, you know, rather than trying to go and do something a bit out of their way. But I think it's also, in Europe, you've got 27 countries with widely different food culture, you know, so in a way it's, you have to be open on naturally more open to the difference, and because it's part of, you know, you can drive the length of Victoria and you change the country 5 times, you know, so in Australia you don't necessarily have this, so there's like a much bigger common ground of what's, you know, what a good Sunday afternoon should look like, you know, for example. But it's true and false to some extent, you know. I feel like Melbourne is very eclectic on many aspects. Every suburb is very different, so it's very hard to make a generalization.
I agree with that a lot, actually. I feel like one business who will work here would not work elsewhere in Melbourne. And it's, you can, I mean, yeah, you can go in the western suburbs, you know, and you will have like a day elsewhere, pretty much in Melbourne. It's really cool. Like it's really fun. It makes it very complex on a business level, and in fact, I think maybe that's why. I mean, it's probably the how the economy has been built as well over time. But I feel like in Europe, you've got much more chance to see chains and, you know, like big groups of hospitality, things like that. It's something you see a little bit less here. And I think it's because, from one suburbs to another, but from one state to another, Australians are actually quite different. I mean, that's true that, you know, in terms of consumption habits, you know, it's a little bit different. I like it here a lot because it's very laid back. It's a very chilled approach, and I feel like it's. I like the idea of being able to offer something which is great, well thought through, with a good creative mind behind. But I'm actually quite unhappy about the very formal, format of it. And I feel like it's something that I really like here in Australia, really like here in Collingwood, is like the format here can be a little bit more chilled, while your product and, you know, your sense of service can still be great, you know. People will still be receptive of that. I don't know.
Something that's really, really refreshing, actually,
on
our end.
You could have we obviously got a little uniform now, which is really cool. It's this sort of like thick cotton blue jacket, and it works really well. But ultimately, summer's going to come, and
just to inform who's working and who's not. Sometimes it's hard to tell.
But summer's going to come, and ultimately, I'm not too sure it will be adapted again, you know. But we could imagine that, for example, we can be serving in boots and hadiaka short, you know, mini short, and it will be fine, you know. I feel like it will be fine here, you know. People will still be receptive to what we're delivering in terms of service, product, price, you know, and it will not shock that much. It's definitely not something you will be able to do in France, probably even less in the UK.
But, you know, like working at Rue de Monde, that's like a very good example, because that was on the topic of every single day, breaking that sort of fine dining element. It's a space that's very impressive when you first go there. You know, it's on floor 55, but I feel like everybody was trying to be so friendly with everyone. And I think if you ever dined there, you probably had that connection before. It's not something you have in a fine dining restaurant in France at all. I think the fact Michelin star is not in Australia, outside of the fact that the market is quite small, tells you as well. You know, like they agreed, and like their notation system just doesn't apply here. The service is much more casual and friendly and real. I think that's a great plus. Definitely something is nicer as an environment to work in on our end of the stick. Yeah, I'm very receptive to that for sure.
Well, perhaps with all that in mind and your experience in different countries, what would your advice be to people starting out in hospitality? Not necessarily owning a business, but it could be that. What do you need to be good at hospitality?
It's to be genuine. I think you really need to want to make genuine connection if you're in the front of house. I try and treat my guests like if they're family, almost, you know. So I always take time to see where they're at and try and have like a good connection with everybody of them. It doesn't mean much, you know. Sometimes it's a birthday and it's a splash of sparkling. Sometimes people are interested in the space. It just means taking 2 minutes of your time to walk them through and spend some time with them. Just having an element of connection with everyone like this, for me, it's important. You only come if you really want to make friends and genuine connection. I think attention to detail as well is another thing that probably more apply to bar, I mean to service as well to some extent, or kitchen. But take pride in what you do. Sometimes it's very often underlooked, you know, and I think you've got not doing too much. You can really make someone's day much better. So I think it's good to remember that a little detail actually goes a long way. So it's long hours and it's not an easy job by all means, but you know, there's that's the plus side of things. I think the last leg of it, if you really push it, you can actually make a big difference for people and the experience.
I feel like you need to like it. You need to feel good in this environment. You need to you need to want genuinely delivering a great time to people. I feel like, and it's across. It's not just front of house where you're actually in contact with people and you're actually having this, genuine great connections where you really want to give the best to people. It's as well for the back of house, for the kitchen, things like that. It's very important to remember what we're doing behind, which is the final element of it, is just to receive guests and make them having the best time, great experience. It can be very simple, but just like just friendly and enjoying the place, really feeling that you're coming every day and having a great time. It's important.
Have fun while doing it.
Yeah,
that's probably what's going to carry you over time.
It's quite demanding industry for sure, and I feel like it has changed in Australia as well. I feel like before it was a little bit easier. I feel like the costs in general were lower. We're talking about rent, energy, staff, goods as well. Everything was lower before, and I feel like recently we had like a really big bump up at this level. You feel like it's hitting a lot of people. You need to be much more thorough now, the way you manage your business, much more, in some way, much more as I've seen it in Europe, in Paris, in London, where you actually have to be, you have to be thorough, you have to think your concept, you have to think your processes, and you have to be a good professional at the end, So I feel like, for generally speaking, it's for hospitality people, but more specifically, if you want to open a business, I feel like it's very important that you're precise in what you're doing, and
Well, whatever you're both doing, you're doing it really well, and I can't wait to come back when you're open and try some more of the food and the drinks. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Conversation with a Chef with Julien Pascal and Julien Wurtlin at Babines in Collingwood. You can check out all the goodness on Instagram at babines.au. That's BABINES.au. If you'd like to hear more stories from other chefs, I'm also on Instagram at Conversation with a Chef. Pretty much what it says on the tin. You can read this chat online at www.conversationwithachef.com, and of course follow me on Apple and Spotify podcasts. I would absolutely love it if you told a friend about my chats. I still think it's the best way to get these delicious stories out into the world. Once again, thanks so much for listening. Have a great day and bon appétit.